Good day, coach and classmates. My name is Charlene B. Untong, and I am the little teacher of Study Hub 8. I'll be introducing our video presentation for today. Before we begin, let me introduce my team members. For today's presentation, we will be discussing the organization and management of learner-centered classroom. So this topic is important because it focuses on a well-organized learner-centered classroom helps students stay engaged and motivated. It involves arranging the classroom to support different learning styles such as individual study, group work, and hands-on activities. So a good classroom management ensures students follow rules, work together, and take responsibility for their learning. So this creates a positive and productive learning environment for everyone. Before we dive into the main discussion, here are the learning objectives of our presentation. At the end of the unit, the pre-service teacher can identify various forms of learner-centered classroom organization based on learners' needs. Formulate classroom procedures and routines that promotes disciplines, fairness, respect, and care among learners and encourage learning. Design, organize, and explain the significance of the layout of the physical structure of the classroom for active engagement of learners individually or in groups in exploration, discovery, hands-on, and self-learning activities. Describe the roles and responsibilities of the teacher and the learners for a supportive, inspiring, motivating, and productive learner-centered classroom. And lastly, evaluate which disciplinary actions are positive and non-violent in the management of learner behavior. Now, let's define our topic for today, which is the organization and management of learner-centered classroom. So, what is the organization and management of learner-centered classrooms? A learner-centered classroom focuses on student engagement, collaboration, and independent thinking. Instead of a teacher-centered setup where students only listen to lectures, a learner-centered classroom allows students to explore, work together, and take control of their learning. To make this effective, the classroom must be well organized and properly managed. This is where organization and management comes in. So the classroom organization and management plays a crucial role in creating a learning environment that supports students' engagement, independence, and creativity. So when we say organization, it refers to how the physical classroom is arranged to support different learning styles. This includes the setting arrangement, learning stations, and available materials that help students engage better. So when we say management, it refers to how teachers and guide students and maintain a structured environment where learning can happen smoothly. So these involve setting rules, managing activities, and encouraging students' participation. Together, organization and management create a classroom where students feel motivated, safe, and ready to learn. So how about a learner-centered classroom? So when we say a learner-centered classroom, it is designed to encourage active participation, critical thinking, and collaboration among students. Or it is also a space where students take an active role in their learning. So unlike traditional classroom where teachers do most of the talking, a learner-centered approach encourages students to explore, ask questions, and work together. So for example, instead of simply listening to a lecture about science, students conduct experiments in groups, discuss their findings, and present their results. Now, let's move on to the different forms of learner-centered classroom organization. A learner-centered classroom can be arranged in different ways to support students' learning styles. So this is where a classroom should be structured in a way that supports different types of learners. Because some of the students prefer working alone, some learn best in groups, while others thrive in hands-on activities. So to support all the learning styles, a learner-centered classroom is usually organized in different ways. So number one, room structuring. One of the most important aspects of classroom organization is room structuring. This refers to how the classroom space is arranged to fit different types of learning. The goal of room structuring is to make sure that every student has a learning space that suits for their needs. So there are three main types of room structuring. Number one is individual learning spaces. The second is group learning spaces. And lastly, activity-oriented learning spaces. So when we say for individual learning, it focuses on self-paced study. So number two is for group learning. It encourages the teamwork and collaboration. And lastly, the activity-oriented classroom. It supports the hands-on learning through experiments and projects. So now, let's discuss each one. First, we have individual learning spaces. It is designed for self-paced study. It includes quiet areas, personal workstation, and research stations. So the students learn independently with minimal distractions. So again, this setup is designed for students who prefer to study alone or need a quiet environment to concentrate. So for example, a reading corner or a computer station allows students to work at their own pace without distractions. A student who needs extra time to understand a topic can use this space to review materials and practice independently. Next, we have group learning spaces. Some students learn best when they collaborate and exchange ideas with their classmates. In this setup, desks are arranged in small groups or clusters to encourage teamwork and discussions. So for example, in a science class, students conduct experiment as a team, sharing their observations and writing joint report. This setup improves communication, teamwork, and problem-solving skills. Lastly, we have activity-oriented learning spaces. So this setup is best for students who learn by doing. Instead of traditional desks, the classroom is arranged with learning stations for hands-on activities such as science experiments, art projects, or role-playing exercises. For instance, in a science class, instead of just reading about plant growth, students plant their own seeds, observe changes daily, and record their findings in a journal. So there are key strategies for managing a learner-centered classroom. First is encourage students' participation. So managing a learner-centered classroom requires clear strategies. Teachers should encourage participation by allowing students to express ideas freely. So second is set clear expectation and rules. It is to maintain the structure while giving students freedom to explore. Third is provide flexible seating arrangements. So students can choose the best way to work individually or in groups. So fourth is use technology to support learning. So integrate technology like online quizzes and interactive lessons to make learning more engaging. So for example, in a blended learning setup, students might watch video lessons at home and work on projects in class, making the best use of time. Here are some benefits of a well-organized learner-centered classroom. First, it promotes active learning and critical thinking. So a well-organized learner-centered classroom benefits students by encouraging active participation instead of passive learning. Then second, encourages independence and problem-solving skills. So developing a problem-solving and independent thinking skills. Third, creates an inclusive and engaging environment. So, making the classroom more engaging and inclusive for all students. The fourth is improve students' motivation and collaboration. So, for example, when students collaborate on projects, they learn to respect different opinions, share ideas, and develop teamwork, all valuable life skills. So there are challenges and solutions in managing a learner-centered classroom. So the first common challenges is students may struggle with self-direction. So the solution of this is provide guidance and structured choices. So some students might struggle with independent learning, so teachers need to guide them without controlling them. So, the second common challenges is the managing group activities can be difficult. So, the solution of this is set clear rules for group work. So, managing group activities can be difficult, so setting clear rules helps them maintain order. So, the third is not all students learned at the same pace, and the solution of this is use differentiated instruction to support different learning speeds. So, students learn at different speeds. So, the teachers should adapt lessons to meet individual needs. So, for example, a teacher can provide extra materials or online resources for students who need more time to understand a lesson. That's all for my report. So the next reporter, which is Mr. Prieto, will give a summary of my topic.
Good day everyone, especially to Coach Jude. I'm Nasalito A. Prieto from Study Hub 8, number 2. Before we proceed to our new lesson, we have a small conclusion about the form of learning-centered classroom, organization. A well-organized learner-centered classroom creates an engaging and supportive environment where students like an active role in their learning. By structuring the classroom to support individualized learning, group collaboration, and hands-on activity. Teachers help students develop critical thinking, teamwork, and independence. Effective classroom management ensure that students remain focused, responsible, and motivated. When classrooms are properly organized and managed, learning becomes more meaningful, interactive, and enjoyable for everyone. Now we discuss all about the classroom routine and procedure, learner-centered classroom organization that prioritize a social environment of fairness, respect, care, and encouragement, and lastly, learning-centered classroom organization that effectively increase a motivation learning. Classroom and routine and procedures. A learner-centered classroom typically features a routine and procedures that prioritize student agency, allowing them to actively participate in their learning by making choices, collaborating with peers, and taking ownership of their understanding, with the teaching acting as a facilitator, guiding the process rather than solely delivering information. These can include elements like group work, project-based learning, differentiate of structures, and regular opportunities for reflection and self-assessment. There are key elements of learning center, classroom and routine, and procedures. Collaborative learning. Students work together in small group on project or problem-solving activities, fostering discussion and peer learning. Choice-based learning. Students are given option to select activities or topic that align with their interests, promoting engagement and motivation. Inquiry-based learning. Teacher pose open-ended questions to encourage students to actively explore and investigate the concept, developing critical thinking skills. Self-assessment and reflection. Students regularly reflect on their learning process and identify areas for improvement and set personal goals. Example of classroom routine in a learning center environment. Think, pair, share. Student individually reflect on a question discussed with partner. then share their thought with the whole class. Learning station different learning activities are set up around the room, allowing students to choose which station to work at based on their learning style. Jigsaw activity. Students are assigned different pieces of information within a topic, then come together to share knowledge and build a comprehensive understanding. Daily reflection journal. Students take a few minutes and at the end of the class to write down, take away and areas they want to focus on next. Third, a learner-centered classroom, organization that prioritize a social environment of fairness, respect, care, and encouragement to learning. A learning-centered classroom organization that prioritizes a social environment of fairness and respect, care, and encouragement to learning would likely involve flexible grouping, collaborative learning station, student-led discussion, differentiated instruction, and a strong emphasis on positive peer interaction, where everyone else valued and supported, allowing them to student to take ownership of their learning while fostering sense of community. Key elements of such a classroom structure: choice-based learning center. Station or actively are set up where students can select learning path that best suit their interests and learning style. Positive classroom structure, explicitly teaching and reinforcing values like respect, empathy, and active listening through class discussion and role playing. Student agency, providing opportunities for students to make choice about their learning, like selecting topic for research or contribute to classroom rule. How this align with the social environment principle? Fairness by providing equal opportunities for all students participate, access support, and demonstrate their learning regardless of ability level. Respect, fostering a classroom where students feel valued and heard with diverse perspective being acknowledged and appreciated. Care, actively promoting a supportive and inclusive environment where students feel comfortable asking for help and supporting their peer. Encouraging learning, creating a positive atmosphere that promotes students to take risks, explore new ideas, and actively engage in their learning process. Fourth, creating motivating learning environment, a form of learning-centered classroom organization that effectively creates a motivating learning environment is a learner-centered classroom structure when students are actively engaged in their learning, have choice in their activities, and that teacher act as a facilitator, fostering a sense of ownership and responsibility over their education. Key elements of learning-centered classroom organization for motivation. First, flexible learning station. Difference area within the classroom design for various learning activities like individual work, collaborative project, and technology-based learning, and quick reflection. Second, student choice and anatomy, allowing students to select activities, learning path, and project topic based on their interests and learning style. Third, collaborative learning group, encouraging students to work together on project, discussion, and problem solving to promote peer learning and collaboration. Benefits of learning-centered classroom organization. Increased engagement. Students are more likely to be actively involved in their learning when they have choices and are responsible for their progress. Improve critical thinking skill, encouraging students to analyze questions and solve problems. Independently develop higher order thinking and abilities. Enhance self-esteem, feeling empowered to make choice and take ownership of their learning can boost student confidence. great collaboration and communication. Work in group and discussing idea with peer improve communication and teamwork skills.
Good day everyone. So my name is Casey Lane D. Ostero and today I'll be discussing the learner-centered classroom, its role and responsibilities. But first, I will have first a short recap about the key aspects of the forms of learner-centered classroom, organization, procedures, and physical structure. Number 2 is the classroom routines and procedures. Consistent routines are essential. They create structure and predictability, reducing student anxiety and freeing teachers to focus on the instruction. Think of established procedures for everything from getting attention to handling missed work. So the third is the social environment. A positive climate is built on fairness, respect, and care. Teachers should actively listen to students, value their opinions, and create a safe space for learning. This fosters trust and encourages participation. The fourth is creating motivating learning environment. Motivating students is crucial. While the rewards can be helpful, the ultimate goal is intrinsic motivation, a student's inner drive to learn. This is fostered by making learning engaging and relevant. So, in short, effective classroom management combines clear routines, a positive environment, and a focus on student motivation. So now, let's proceed to the learner-centered classroom, its role and responsibilities. Student-centered classroom involves changes in the roles and responsibilities of learners and instructors in the delivery of instructional strategies and learning itself. So, these all different from those in the traditional teacher-centered classroom. So, here are the roles and responsibilities of the teacher. First is recognize and accommodate different learning modalities. So, the teacher understands that everyone learns differently, like some like to read, some like to listen, and some like to do things. So, they use many different ways to teach so everyone can learn best. For example, they might use videos, game, or group activities. So, the second is provide structure without being overly directive. The teacher sets up to the classroom so learning can happen, but they don't tell students what to do every minute. They give students choices and let them explore. For example, they might give students a topic to learn about, but let them decide how they want to learn, or like by researching online, reading books, or talking to experts. Third is listen and respect each learner's point of view. The teacher listens carefully to what students have to say, even if they don't agree with them. So, they respect everyone's ideas and opinions. For example, if a student has a different opinion about a topic, the teacher will listen and try to understand the student point of view. The fourth is encourage and facilitate learners' shared decision making. The teacher helps students make decisions about what they will learn and how they will learn it. They encourage students to work as a team. For example, They might let the students vote on what project they want to do or how they want to present their work. And the last one is help learners work through difficulties by asking open-ended questions to help them arrive at conclusions or solutions that are satisfactory to them. So, when students have trouble, the teacher helps them by asking questions that make them think. They don't give answers right away, but help students figure it out themselves. So, for example, if a student is stuck on a problem, the teacher might ask them what they've already tried or what they think the next step could be. And here are the roles and responsibilities of the learners. First is active participants in their own learning. So, students or learners are involved in their own learning. They don't just sit and listen. They ask questions, participate in discussion, and do activities. For example, they might ask questions during lessons, share their ideas with classmates, or work on projects in groups. Number 2 is makes decision about what and how they will learn. Students get to choose what they learn and how they learn it. They can pick topics that interest them, choose how they want to study, and decide how they want to show what they've learned. For example, they might choose to read a book about a certain topic, watch a documentary, or create a presentation. The third is construct new knowledge and skills by building on current knowledge and skills. So, students learn by connecting what they already know to new things. They build on their understanding and learn the new skills. For example, if they learn about plants in science class, they can connect that to their knowledge about gardening experience or what they've learned about different types of plants in other classes. And fourth is understand expectations and are encouraged to use self-assessment measures. So, students understand what they need to learn and how they will be assessed. They are encouraged to check their own understanding and see if they are learning what they need to. So, for example, they might use rubrics to self-assess their work or check their progress against learning objectives. Number 5, monitor their own learning to develop strategies for learning. Students think about how they are learning and try a new ways to learn better. So, they are active in the learning and want to understand things. For example, they might try different study strategies, ask for help when they need it, or reflect on their learning process. The number 6, work in collaboration with other learners. So, students work together in groups to share ideas, learn from each other, and help each other to learn. So, for example, they might work on projects, discuss ideas, or help each other study for tests. Number 7, so provide work that demonstrates authentic learning. So, students create projects or do activities that show that they have learned in the real world ways. So, they apply their knowledge to solve problems or create things. So, authentic learning is about making learning meaningful and connected to real life. It's not just about memorizing facts for a test, but about using what you've learned to do something in the real world. So, for example, instead of just learning about the environment, students might work on a project to clean up a local park. This is authentic learning because they are using their knowledge to make a difference in their community. In conclusion, a learner-centered classroom, the teacher and learner share distinct roles and responsibilities. The teacher facilitates learning by accommodating different learning styles, providing structure, and encouraging decision making. Meanwhile, learners take an active role in their education, making decisions, constructing new knowledge, and collaborating with peers. This approach promotes authentic learning where students engage with real-world problems and apply knowledge in meaningful context. So, that's all from my presentation. Thank you.
So before I'll start in my topic, let me first recap Astero's topic. So, in a learner-centered classroom, teachers act as a facilitators, adapting to diverse learning styles, providing structures without dictating, respecting learning perspectives, and encouraging collaborative decision-making. They guide learners through challenges using open-ended questions. Learners, in turn, actively participate, making choices about their learning, building upon existing knowledge, using self assessment, monitoring their progress, collaborating with peers, and demonstrating learning through authentic real world application. The focus shifts from rote memorization to meaningful engagement with relevant problems and tasks. So now let me proceed to my topic. So my topic is all about learner-centered discipline prioritizing students' well-being and growth. So this means that learner-centered discipline prioritizes student well-being and growth, fostering self-regulation and positive learning environment. So, this approach moves beyond simple punishment to focus on the development of responsible, self-regulated learners. Instead of solely reacting to misbehavior, it proactively builds a classroom culture that supports positive behavior and addresses the underlying causes of disruptive actions. This includes building relationships, collaborative norms, logical consequences, and individualized support. Restorative practices promoting by prioritizing student well-being and growth, learner-centered discipline creates a supportive and engaging learning environment where students can thrive academically, socially, and emotionally. So first is collaborative class norms. These rules and expectations for behavior within the classroom that are developed together by the teacher and students. This collaborative approach fosters a sense of ownership and shared responsibility for maintaining a positive learning environment. So, creating class rules collaboratively with students fosters a sense of ownership and shared responsibility. Students are more likely to follow rules they help create, leading to a more positive and self-regulated classroom environment. This approach emphasizes participation and shared decision making, promoting a sense of community and mutual respect. Second is logical consequences. Logical consequences for misbehavior that are directly related to the infraction. They aim to teach students about the natural results of their actions rather than simply punishing them. So, if a student doesn't complete their homework, illogical consequences might be extra time to complete it during recess or lunchtime. So, logical consequences connect the consequences directly to the misbehavior. For example, if a student is disrupted, a logical consequences might be to lose some playtime or to complete extra work related to the disrupted activity. This approach focuses on teaching responsibility and understanding the natural consequences of actions rather than simply punishing. So next is consistent application. Fair and even-handed enforcement of class norms and consequences for all students. Consistency is crucial for building trust and ensuring that everyone understands and adheres the classroom rules. Fair and even-handed enforcement of rules is key. All students should be held to the same standards, building trust and ensuring predictability. Inconsistent application can lead to confusion, resentment, and a breakdown of classroom order. Consistency demonstrates fairness and helps students understand expectations. Fourth is student-specific approaches. Discipline strategies tailored to individual student needs and learning styles, avoiding a one-size-fits-all approach. So, recognizing that students have diverse needs, a learner-centered approach tailors discipline to individual circumstances. Strategies are adapted to development stages, learning styles, and personal challenges. This might involve providing extra support, modifying assignment, or offering alternative ways to demonstrate understanding. So, fifth is time for solution. This involves providing students with opportunities to reflect on their actions, understand the impact of their behavior, and make amends. It emphasizes restorative justice and helping students learn from their mistake. This approach prioritizes reflections and making amends. It involves providing opportunities for students to understand the impact of their actions and to repair any harm caused. Restorative justice practices, such as meditation, can be incorporated to help students learn from their mistakes and build a positive relationship. Next is calm spaces. Designated areas or strategies within the classroom that offer students a quiet and calming environment to manage their emotion and escalate when needed. This can be a physical space or a set of calming techniques. Calm spaces help students regulate their emotions. They provide quiet environment for relaxation and de-escalation, equipping students with tools to manage stress and prevent disruptive behavior. This proactive approach supports students' well-being and create a more peaceful learning environment. So, overall conclusion, this document outlines the organization and management of learner-centered classroom. The topics covered include forms of learner-centered classroom organization. This this details different ways to structure a learner-centered classroom, including room structuring for individual and group learning activities, oriented classrooms, classroom routines and procedures, and creating a positive social environment that fosters learning. Learner-centered classroom, roles and responsibilities. This section explores the roles and responsibilities of both teachers and learners in a learner-centered classroom. The role of discipline in learner-centered classroom. This section focuses on establishing discipline within a learner-centered environment, emphasizing collaborative class norms, logical consequences, consequent application of rules, student-specific approaches, providing time for conflict resolution, and creating calm spaces. The intended learning outcomes are identified the various learner-centered classroom structures, formulate classroom routines that promote respect and care, design and organize engaging group activities, describe the responsibilities of teachers and learners, evaluate the effectiveness of classroom management and strategies. That's all for my topic.